Who knew that some of the world's biggest breakthroughs were just happy accidents waiting to happen? While archaeologists and scientists tirelessly dig and delve, sometimes the most game-changing discoveries pop up when least expected. From discovering an underwater shipwreck to the creation of PostIt Notes, here are discoveries that happened purely by chance. Number 20, the first artificial sweetener. Starting it all off is a clumsy moment that turned into a sweet success story in 1879, thanks to Russian chemist Konstantin Fahlberg. Working under Dr. Ira Remsen at Johns Hopkins University, Fahlberg forgot to wash his hands after a long day in the lab. When he dug into his dinner, he was shocked to find his bread and everything else he touched tasted unusually sweet. Turns out, his accidental sweetener came from his own fingers. Intrigued, Fahlberg headed back to the lab and began tasting various compounds. His impromptu taste test led to the discovery of benzoic sulfamide, which we now know as saccharin. However, this sweet discovery came with a sour twist. While Fahlberg and Remsen initially published their findings together, a rift grew between them. Fahlberg patented saccharin in both Germany and the United States, leaving Remsen feeling betrayed, especially since Fahlberg's accounts often downplayed Remsen's contributions. Despite the messy end to their partnership, saccharin quickly became a popular sugar substitute, especially during sugar shortages in World War I and World War II. It was celebrated as a non-caloric alternative to sugar, beloved by diabetics and dieters alike. Thanks to a happy accident, the world got its first artificial sweetener. Now, as the discovery of saccharin unfolded in the lab, far from the bustling cities, history was quietly being shaped in another unexpected corner of the world. Number 19, Pompeii. Long ago, in the late 16th century, Pompeii had been buried under volcanic ash for nearly 1,600 years, just waiting for someone to notice. That someone turned out to be Domenico Fontana, an Italian architect who stumbled upon the ancient ruins while digging a canal in 1592. However, instead of making a big deal about it, he decided to keep his discovery under wraps. Fast forward to 1689, and along comes Francesco Pacetti, who spots a wall inscription that says, "Town Councilor of Pompeii." You'd think the name Pompeii would ring a bell, right? Not for Pacetti. He shrugged it off, thinking it was just some villain named Pompey, and went on his merry way. The ancient city slipped back into the shadows of history once more. Then, in 1748, an engineer named Raken Kier came along, digging for a well, and soon he managed to unearth Pompeii again. This time, people started to pay attention. By the mid-18th century, under King Charles III of Spain, serious excavations began, and what they found was mind-blowing. A city practically frozen in time, thanks to all that volcanic ash. There were buildings, frescoes, and everyday objects, all incredibly well-preserved. Fast forward to the 19th century, and Giuseppe Fiorelli revolutionized the excavation process. He got the bright idea to pour plaster into the voids left by decomposed bodies, creating hauntingly detailed casts of the people who lived there. These casts showed people in their final moments, and it's both fascinating and heartbreaking to see. Now, Pompeii isn't the only place that was found by chance. One oldest and most jaw-dropping maritime discoveries also was found by accident. Number 18, Blubberin Shipwreck. It all started in 1982 with a local sponge diver named Mehmed, who was just doing his usual underwater rounds off the coast of Aluan near Kos in Turkey. Suddenly, he stumbled upon this ancient wreck, completely by chance, and what a wreck it turned out to be. Dubbed the Titanic of the Mediterranean, this shipwreck was like nothing else ever discovered. However, there was a catch. The wreck's location was a diver's nightmare, with tricky underwater terrain making it hard to reach. Researchers estimated that it would take over 22,400 dives to fully explore this underwater time capsule. Despite the challenge, the Institute of Nautical Archaeology was up for it. They launched an epic mission, spanning over 11 seasons of excavation to uncover the secrets of the Blubberin shipwreck. What they found was that the ship had been carrying over 20 tons of cargo when it went down, including copper and tin ingots. That was just the beginning, though. They uncovered treasures from at least 7 different cultures: Minoan, Greek, Cypriot, Egyptian, Canaanite, Assyrian, and Nubian. Safe to say, the wreck was like a floating museum. It was packed with exotic items such as elephant tusks, hippopotamus teeth, and tortoise shells. The pièce de résistance, though, was a gold scarab with the royal cartouche of Nefertiti, the legendary wife of Egyptian pharaoh Akhenaten. It seems that just as a chance discovery led to the exploration of the Blubberin shipwreck, a scientific experiment revealed a new world. Number 17. X-rays. German physicist Wilhelm Conrad Röntgen is playing mad scientist back in 1895. With his cathode ray tubes in his lab at the University of Würzburg, he was all geared up, expecting nothing more than the usual scientific mumbo-jumbo. However, something magical happened. As Röntgen fiddled with his tubes, he spotted something strange. There was a fluorescent screen coated with barium platinocyanide glowing a vibrant green. This was weird since the tube was wrapped up tight in black cardboard at the same time. No light should have been getting through. So the real question here was, what was making it glow? Safe to say, Röntgen's curiosity kicked into overdrive. He realized eventually that invisible rays were sneaking through the cardboard and making the screen light up. These rays were so sneaky that they didn't even need to be visible to have an impact. Röntgen decides to call these rays X-rays. Next, Röntgen tested his mysterious rays on a variety of materials. He found out that X-rays can zip through soft stuff like human tissue, but get stuck on denser items like bones and metal. To experiment with this new finding, he snapped an X-ray image of his wife's hand. The result was that her bones and wedding ring were perfectly visible, like an inside-out magic trick. You best believe from this point onwards that news of X-rays spreads faster than ever. By 1896, doctors around the world were using these rays to see inside people's bodies without surgery. Much like Röntgen's unexpected breakthrough, another scientific discovery that began with a happy accident transformed our everyday lives in surprising ways. Number 16. The glass that rarely breaks. Ever dropped a glass flask and wished it would just stay together instead of exploding into 1,000 pieces? French chemist Edouard Benedictus did, but instead of wishing, he accidentally made a revolutionary discovery in 1903. While working in his lab, Benedictus dropped a flask coated with a plastic cellulose nitrate solution. Instead of shattering into dangerous shards, the flask's pieces stayed largely intact thanks to the thin plastic film. It was a serendipitous moment that led him to invent laminated safety glass. By sandwiching a layer of plastic between two sheets of glass, he created a material that could hold itself together even when broken. He named it triplex glass and patented it in 1909. Initially, triplex glass was a bit of a niche product, but it found its calling during World War I as part of gas mask eyepieces. The real game changer came in the 1920s when car manufacturers started using it for windshields. Ever since, laminated safety glass has become a go-to for everything from car windows to skyscrapers, offering safety and ultraviolet protection. Number 15. Penicillin. Next, back in the year of 1928, a quirky Scottish scientist named Sir Alexander Fleming left his petri dish uncovered. Now, this dish wasn't left for a brief period of time. Fleming apparently forgot about it while he took a much-needed 2-week vacation. Little did he know, this wasn't just any ordinary break. His dish was about to make medical history. When Fleming returned to his lab at St. Mary's Hospital in London, he discovered something straight out of a science fiction novel. His dish was covered in a mysterious blue mold, and around it, the pesky Staphylococcus bacteria were mysteriously vanishing. The mold, as it turned out, was Penicillium notatum, which would eventually help produce penicillin. Here's where the story takes a turn though. Despite Fleming's groundbreaking find, the medical world largely shrugged it off at first. It wasn't until the late 1930s when two Oxford University researchers, Howard Florey and Sir Ernest Chain, dusted off Fleming's work that penicillin got its big break. Now it was time to figure out how to mass-produce the drug, which they eventually did. First, they started by testing it on mice and then on humans, proving it worked wonders on bacterial infections. Fast forward to today, and penicillin is still a superstar in the medical world. Number 14. Microwave. Moving on, Percy Spencer, an engineer at Raytheon, was working with magnetrons back in 1945. These are nifty tubes that shoot out microwave radiation for radar systems. And one day, while experimenting, Spencer discovered something unexpected. He found that a peanut cluster candy bar in his pocket had melted. It was a curious result that made him wonder if microwaves could do more than just warm up radar equipment. Spencer's curiosity led him to test microwaves on various foods. He found that popcorn popped quickly, and even saw an egg explode from the rapid heating. Realizing he had stumbled upon something revolutionary, Spencer built a metal box to contain the microwave energy and see if it could cook food effectively. His invention worked, and the first microwave oven was born. Raytheon quickly recognized the potential, and in 1947, introduced the Radarange, the first commercial microwave oven. The technology got a significant upgrade in the 60s when a compact, countertop microwave was introduced that was both affordable and practical for home use. In a similarly unexpected twist of fate, another everyday innovation emerged from a fluke in the world of adhesives. Number 13. PostIt Notes. If you've ever used a PostIt note to jot down a quick reminder or stick a note to your fridge, you've benefited from a fantastic fluke in the world of science. This little marvel was discovered by accident in the late 60s, thanks to a mix-up in adhesive experiments at the Minnesota Mining and Manufacturing. Here, Dr. Spencer Silver was working on creating a super strong adhesive for aircraft, but instead, he accidentally concocted a weak adhesive. This stuff stuck lightly to surfaces but could be peeled off without leaving a trace, essentially useless for the high-strength needs of aerospace. However, Silver didn't throw in the towel. He kept promoting his quirky adhesive within the company, hoping someone would find a use for it. Then, Art Fry came into the picture, who was a fellow scientist at the same company who also happened to sing in his church choir. You see, Fry had a nagging problem. He couldn't easily mark his hymns with bookmarks that wouldn't fall out. Remembering Silver's peculiar adhesive, Fry had a light bulb moment. He realized it would be perfect for a reusable, sticky bookmark, so Fry and Silver teamed up and began experimenting with yellow scrap paper from a nearby lab, and thus, the iconic PostIt Notes were born. Initially launched in 1977 under the name Press and Peel, the product didn't quite stick and didn't catch on right away. However, in 1979, the company rebranded it as PostIt Notes and launched a massive sampling campaign. The result was that over 90% of recipients wanted to buy them. Now, just as surprising discoveries can emerge from the most unexpected places, sometimes even a casual stroll can lead to remarkable scientific breakthroughs. Number 12. A beetle species. In March of 2024, a routine morning walk turned into a headline-worthy discovery for James Tweed, a Doctor of Philosophy candidate at the University of Queensland. While strolling through Lamington National Park on the Gold Coast, Tweed noticed something that seemed to be bird droppings on a lomandra leaf. Most people would have ignored it, but Tweed's keen scientific eye made him stop for a closer look. To his surprise, what initially seemed like a smudge of bird poop was actually something far more exciting, a fluffy, white, and hairy beetle. This was no ordinary bug. Tweed had stumbled upon a brand new species. Measuring just 9.7 millimeters, this tiny creature boasted striking red and black coloration, hidden beneath a coat of long white hairs, making it look like, well, poop. After consulting with the experts at the Australian National Insect Collection and conducting extensive research, Tweed confirmed his beetle was not just a new species, but it belonged to a completely new genus. Named Excastra albopilosa, this little beetle has since captured the interest of entomologists and nature enthusiasts alike. Number 11. Velcro. Up next, in the early 1940s, a Swiss engineer was out for a stroll in the woods with his trusty dog. Little did he know, George de Mestral's leisurely walk was about to spark a revolution in how we fasten things. As de Mestral ambled through the forest, he noticed that both his clothes and his dog's fur were absolutely plastered with burrs from the burdock plant. Now, Mestral was a bit baffled by how these little spiky hitchhikers clung so stubbornly. So, naturally, he decides to take a closer look. Under the microscope, he uncovered the burr's secret: tiny hooks that grab onto the loops in fabric and fur like they're on a mission. Inspired by this ingenious natural design, de Mestral had a light bulb moment. What if he could create a man-made version of this hook and loop system? From here on out, Mestral dove into years of experimentation and discovered that when nylon was exposed to infrared light, it formed durable, hook-like structures. By 1955, his hard work paid off. After perfecting his invention, the engineer named it Velcro. However, the road to success isn't smooth. Early prototypes of Velcro weren't winning any beauty contests, and they also struggled to find a market. Eventually, though, Velcro found its footing in athletic gear and children's shoes, where its practical benefits shine. After this point came a game-changing moment in the 1960s. The National Aeronautics and Space Administration decided to use Velcro to keep equipment secure in the weightlessness of space. In the end, as Velcro revolutionized fastening technology through a stroke of inspiration from nature, another transformative medical breakthrough emerged from a serendipitous discovery. Number 10. Insulin. The Rand Corporation has revealed that the average price of a vial of insulin was about $80.50 back in 2018. This, of course, was no small sum. especially if you're relying on it to manage diabetes. Despite the hefty price tag, though, insulin is hailed as one of the greatest breakthroughs in medical history, and its story is nothing short of serendipitous. The journey to insulin discovery began with Dr. Frederick Banting, who was preparing a lecture on the pancreas. As he delved into his research, Banting had a flash of inspiration. He believed that the pancreas produces a hormone responsible for regulating blood sugar levels. Driven by this hunch, he set out to isolate and harness this elusive substance. In January 1922, Banting's team conducted the first successful human trial with insulin on a 14-year-old boy named Leonard Thompson. This boy, who was near death due to diabetes, was given the experimental treatment. The initial injection didn't work, but a more refined version administered days later worked wonders and dramatically improved his condition. This happy accident turned out to be a life-saving breakthrough that has since saved millions of lives. The story of unexpected discoveries doesn't end with insulin, though. Number 9. The most unusual shade of blue. A seemingly routine experiment in 2009 led to a color discovery right within a lab in Oregon. You see, a graduate student fiddling with manganese oxides at a blistering 1,102 degrees Celsius stumbled upon a shade of blue so striking it could make the sky jealous. What he found was Winman blue, a pigment so vivid it almost glows. This stunning blue isn't just eye-catching, it's a game changer. Winman blue boasts a unique crystal structure that absorbs red and green light while reflecting an intense, pure blue. Unlike most blue pigments that fade, Winman blue stays true to its vibrant hue. It's heat-resistant, acid-resistant, and eco-friendly. After being patented in 2012 and getting the Environmental Protection Agency's thumbs up, Winman blue started making waves in art, design, and even industrial applications. It's not just on canvas. Crayola added it to their crayon lineup, and it's being considered for energy-efficient building materials due to its reflective properties. Number 8. Teflon. Stepping back to 1938, Roy Plunkett was on a quest to find the next big thing in refrigerants. He was fiddling around with tetrafluoroethylene, a gas that seemed to have a lot of promise. Plunkett stored the gas in cylinders at chilly temperatures, ready for his breakthrough. However, when he returned the next morning, he was greeted with a surprise that was anything but cold. Despite the heavy cylinders, no gas escaped. Intrigued, Plunkett and his trusty sidekick, Jack Reebok, decide to crack open one of these mysterious cylinders. Inside, they discovered a white, waxy substance, almost like nature's version of a secret treasure. They had stumbled upon polytetrafluoroethylene, which we now call Teflon. Now DuPont wasted no time in seeing the potential of this unexpected find and snagged a patent for it in 1941. Initially, Teflon was a top-secret star player in military projects, including the Manhattan Project, which was busy creating the atomic bomb. However, Teflon had bigger plans. In the early 50s, it transitioned from top secret to kitchen superstar. This is where French engineer Marc Gregoire comes in. Inspired by his wife Colette's idea to coat their fishing gear with Teflon, Gregoire decided to try the same trick on kitchen pans. After some tests and experiments, Teflon-coated cookware was soon born. It didn't take long for Teflon to become the go-to material for non-stick pans, and from there, it spread like wildfire into aerospace, electronics, and even medical devices. Now, while one discovery revolutionized everyday life, another uncovered a royal mystery. Number 7. Philip II of Macedon's tomb. November 1977 was a game-changer for archaeology, thanks to Greek archaeologist Manolis Andronikos. He was in northern Greece when he stumbled upon something extraordinary. The year was 1977 when Andronikos found a pair of royal tombs dating back to the 4th century before the Common Era. One of these tombs was identified as the final resting place of none other than Philip II of Macedon. The tomb, famously dubbed Tomb 2, was like opening a treasure chest from the ancient world. Inside, Andronikos found a jaw-dropping array of artifacts: shimmering gold and silver ornaments, intricate weapons, and stunning wall frescoes. However, The most valuable piece here was a gold larnax, which was a fancy term for a small coffin. This larnax held what were believed to be the cremated remains of Philip II himself. The opulence of the tomb, combined with the high-quality artifacts and the condition of the bones, painted a clear picture. This was Philip II's final resting place. While the discovery of Philip II's tomb offered a remarkable peek into ancient royal life, another modern scientific breakthrough is promising to change our approach to a contemporary environmental challenge. Number 6. Plastic-eating enzyme. A team of scientists from the University of Portsmouth and the National Renewable Energy Laboratory set out with a simple goal in 2016. Their aim was to understand how PETase, an enzyme capable of breaking down polyethylene terephthalate plastic, worked. Now, polyethylene terephthalate plastic, the stuff your water bottles and many food containers are made of, is notoriously stubborn. This is because it takes centuries to decompose in landfills. The team was hoping to unlock the enzyme's secrets and perhaps find a way to speed up this process. What they didn't expect was a serendipitous breakthrough. While tinkering with PETase, they accidentally created a mutant version of the enzyme that worked much faster. This new, improved enzyme could start breaking down plastic within days, rather than the millennia it would usually take. The mutant PETase breaks polyethylene terephthalate plastic down into its basic components, which can then be recycled into new plastic products. This unplanned upgrade has the potential to transform plastic waste management and reduce the environmental impact of human activity. Following this groundbreaking discovery in plastic waste management, another accidental breakthrough occurred in the field of materials science. Number 5. Glass you can barely see. In the world of scientific breakthroughs, sometimes accidents lead to the most mind-blowing discoveries. A prime example of this is the creation of the thinnest sheet of glass ever. This monumental discovery happened somewhat by chance during experiments at Cornell University and the University of Ulm in Germany. The researchers were initially focused on producing pure graphene, a single layer of carbon atoms in a hexagonal lattice. However, an unexpected air leak in their setup caused a chemical reaction that resulted in something far more surprising: an ultra-thin glass sheet made of silicon and oxygen atoms. This two-dimensional marvel measures just 2 atoms thick, which sets a new record for the thinnest glass ever recorded. In a similar vein of discoveries, another breakthrough in the world of chemistry came from a young scientist whose accidental find changed the color of fashion forever. Number 4. The extraordinary purple dye. In 1856, a teenage chemist named William Henry Perkin stumbled upon a game-changing discovery that had nothing to do with his original goal of making a malaria treatment. Perkin, just 18, and tinkering away in his makeshift home lab, was trying to synthesize quinine from aniline, a coal tar derivative. Instead of creating a life-saving drug, though, he accidentally concocted a black substance. When he tried to clean his lab equipment with alcohol, he noticed something astonishing: a vibrant purple solution. This accidental purple splash turned out to be mauve, the first synthetic dye. At the time, dyes were a pricey business, mostly sourced from plants and animals, and often prone to fading. Perkin's mauve was not only much cheaper to produce, but also boasted incredible color fastness. Recognizing the potential of his accidental masterpiece, Perkin enlisted his father's financial backing and set up a factory in Greenford Green, near London. By 1857, he had patented mauve and begun mass production. His dye didn't just win over the public, it also caught the eye of Queen Victoria and Empress Eugénie of France, which turned it into a royal sensation overnight. Number 3. Wine that has lasted centuries. On the other hand, history got a real vintage twist when scientists unearthed the world's oldest known liquid wine in 2024. The discovery happened in Carmona, Seville, Spain, during what was supposed to be a routine home renovation. Imagine the surprise when a Roman funerary urn dating back around 2,000 years popped up from a sunken tomb, and inside was approximately 4.5 liters of reddish liquid. Now, this wasn't just any old wine. The urn had been sealed so tightly that the liquid inside remained intact, defying the usual fate of ancient wines. This was a big deal because wine, due to its volatile nature, rarely survives the ages without turning into a less than desirable substance. Researchers from the University of Cordova jumped in to investigate. They ran high-performance liquid chromatography and mass spectrometry tests on the reddish liquid. These fancy tests confirmed the presence of polyphenols, which are compounds typical of wine. So, yes, the liquid was indeed ancient wine, and not just some random old potion. Ultimately, while one discovery revealed a timeless treasure, another transported us back to prehistoric times. Number 2. Dinosaur Footprints. During a leisurely walk along Cable Beach in Broome, Western Australia, Bindi Lee-Poor was busy collecting seashells when she felt a strange sensation under her feet. Something just didn't feel right, so she decided to investigate. As she brushed away the sand, she was stunned to uncover a series of enormous ancient footprints, dinosaur tracks dating back a whopping 130 million years. These massive footprints were identified as belonging to a Megalosaurus, a theropod dinosaur that once roamed the area. Each track was about 30 to 50 centimeters long, suggesting that this dino stood around 5 feet tall at the hips and measured between 8 and 13 feet long from snout to tail. This discovery is a perfect example of why it's worth trusting those gut feelings. Sometimes, an odd sensation might just lead you to something extraordinary. Number 1. Presence of aliens. Lastly, while battling a flat tire on a desolate stretch of road, a lone traveler made a discovery that would send ripples through the community. Amid the dusty, sun-baked landscape, the traveler stumbled upon something that defied explanation: the body of an unknown creature. With a mixture of curiosity and disbelief, they snapped a photo of the enigmatic find and made their way to the nearest settlement. News of the discovery spread like wildfire through the town. Locals were electrified, especially when they saw the photo and noted the creature's uncanny resemblance to the gray aliens that have captivated imaginations for decades. Excitement and whispers of extraterrestrial life filled the air. However, before anyone could dive deeper into the mystery, the situation took a dramatic turn. Uniformed individuals appeared seemingly out of nowhere. They carefully loaded the creature onto a stretcher and whisked it away. Now, the sudden and authoritative intervention only fueled the fires of speculation. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.